Hello everyone! Today we are preparing an ice cream cake. This is a very tasty cake. It feels like there is chocolate in the cakes, although it is not there. The crusts are tastier than even the Prague cake. Stay with me. We're going to make a very tasty cake together. It's really good. This is probably the fastest such ice cream cake of its variations at all. To begin with, you need to preheat the oven 180 degrees Celsius or 360 Fahrenheit. And the temperature of all the food should be the same. Either everything out of the refrigerator or everything room temperature. 4 eggs. I separated the whites one way, the yolks the other. I'm going to whip them at the same time. The whites will be whipped in a large bowl and the yolks will be whipped separately. Total sugar, a cup. We divide it in half. About a half into the yolks and half into the egg whites. And keep whipping. Okay, look how big my egg white is. There it is. Pop! Oops. Well, that's pretty much how you should have it. Well, not quite. Don't miss it or they'll run away. So very, very puffy foam, and the yolks should be this vanilla color, 2 or 3 times their volume. The sugar is not completely dissolved. That's okay. Just look at the color. It's a fluffy mass that holds its shape well. That's how it should be. 100 milliliters of water. Pour it into the yolks and stir. Beating the egg whites on slow speed, on the lowest speed you have. Add the yolks and the water. And just like that, we're going to mix it until it's completely combined. Slow speed or with your hands. Now sift the flour, baking powder, and cocoa into the dough through a sieve. I don't sift the flour beforehand. I do it right away like this. I will use dark cocoa, 2 or 3 tablespoons. It should taste good chocolatey. I'll add 2 tablespoons with a little bit of this, 3. If you're going to add it without a spoonful, then 3. Look at the color of the cocoa, very dark. Now we're going to sift it all. You'll have it just so homogeneous. And if you don't sift the cocoa, it can clump in the dough. So you should always sift the cocoa. Now mix everything with a silicone spatula until homogeneous. Take a mold with a diameter of 22 centimeters in diameter. Cover the bottom with parchment. Send here the dough and send it to the preheated oven to bake for about 30 minutes. Check with a wooden stick. While the crust is baking, quickly prepare the cream. Take 2 eggs. I'm going to do it in a thick-bottomed skillet, or you could use a thick-bottomed sauté pan like this. Stir the eggs. There's just a lot of room in the skillet. The cream is literally ready in minutes. We're going to put half a cup of sugar in here and half a cup of sweet condensed milk. And then we add vanilla and add the flour. Mix it all up, knead the dough. And now we take the milk. A little bit at a time. Stir. It is desirable that there are no lumps. When it's like this, it's homogeneous. Send all the milk to the end. Stir. Turn on the stove. Cook over medium heat. You can even put it on low heat. As soon as it starts to boil, the steam starts to come out nicely. Then I reduce the heat to the lowest setting. I take a silicone spatula or spoon and I stir with it. I'll show you how I know the cream is ready. Everything is homogeneous. Now we wait for it to start to warm up well. It's starting to heat up. And the cream underneath is starting to set. It's time to reduce the heat. And cook on low heat until it all curdles. And it's a custard. It's a beautiful color and it's delicious. The custard is boiled. It has the same consistency. It holds its shape well when I swipe it like this. It all runs off in a herringbone pattern. And it doesn't come all the way together. That means the cream is ready. Now I'm going to leave it for a while. I'll get a sieve. You can use a blender to grind it into the sieve so there's no lumps. I'll beat it with a blender, but in fact you don't even have to do that because everything will be whipped then with a mixer together with butter. The cream should cool completely and be cold. I took the butter out of the refrigerator beforehand. It should be soft, and we will whip the butter together with the cream. Our sponge cake is ready. We leave it in the kitchen on the table to cool down well. Take the warm milk. Send here a tablespoon or a tablespoon and a half of powdered sugar. Stir to dissolve the powdered sugar so that it's slightly sweet. This is what we're going to use to soak the crust. The crust has cooled. We're going to use a knife to cut around the edge of the mold, gently. Open the mold. Take it off. Look at the biscuit I've made. Don't remove the parchment. Cut the cake in half. Look at this. It's beautiful and it's really moist. Look, there you go. Don't pour too much. If you're not a fan of moist cakes, you should try these crusts first. They're so moist, someone might not even want to soak them. And top part as well. Let's get some soft butter. We're going to start beating it. Now send here 1 spoonful of cream at a time. And we're going to assemble the cake. I put a piece of parchment paper on a plate. Then I'm going to put the crust. I'm putting the crust that I cut off first. That was the top. I'm going to send it down. I want my top to be so flat. You can do it in any order. Now there's 2 things you can do. Either you can put this ring back here, then you have to put parchment paper around it about 2 centimeters higher, or I'm going to do it with this pastry ring. But you could just use regular parchment. The idea is just to have a little bit more of a rim. You can do it with parchment. I remembered I have a ring. Now we're going to put the cream here. It's very airy. I also know that some people put sliced bananas down before the cream. I haven't tried that because bananas can turn dark. They have that thing. But I know they do. So you should try it. Or maybe somebody makes it with bananas, like this. And you can cut it all up and eat it because it's delicious. Without removing the parchment, we put the crust in here. See, that's how you put the crust in here. Spread out. And in this state, without removing the parchment, I send it to the refrigerator for 2 or 3 hours. It's better overnight, then everything will soak up, grab. And only then I will remove the parchment and cover the whole thing with fondant or ganache. But I do it with fondant. I think this flavor is present a little bitter than cocoa. This combined with the sweet cream and delicious chocolate shortcakes is delicious. That's it. Now I'll be jumping around the fridge to see when it will infuse. My cake has been in the fridge all night. So look, now I'm going to take the parchment off. And this is where I have the crust underneath the parchment. It's moist. If you remove the parchment or you baked, for example, on a mold without parchment, you can bend the whole thing with food wrap. Then you'll be good to go too. Now we're going to take a sharp knife and go around the edge of the mold. If you've put parchment paper over everything, then just gently open the mold and peel off the parchment. Now we have this beauty. It looks very appetizing, I'll tell you. Let's put it aside and make the fudge. You can make 2 kinds of chocolate fudge. The first is to make a ganache. It will never crack. It will hold its shape well. Everything will be beautiful, but it is very sweet, and the cake is sweet. I don't think there's that play of flavors. I'm going to make it with cocoa. My grandmother made with milk, cocoa with milk, cooked such fondant. But there is one weak point in such fondant. Fudge, after 6 hours at least, it will crack. That's the thing. That's why I'm making sour cream fondant. I'm going to do it with sour cream. You can choose one of 3 options. And it is even better when, before the arrival of guests, already settled this cake to cover with chocolate frosting. Then you'll have it just shiny. Not frozen matte, but shiny. It's a matter of who likes it. Someone likes everything to be poured from yesterday and stand in the fridge waiting for its time. And Dima tells me that he wants me to cut and the chocolate to stretch. Well, or rather, fudge. We're making it with cocoa. Cocoa has a little bitterness in it, and it's such a play on flavors. Maybe it's my childhood association, that's why I do it this way. For the fudge, I take 3 tablespoons of cocoa, I pour the sugar in here, I add a piece of butter, and sour cream in there too. I've got 20% fat. The fattier the sour cream, the better. Let's put it on the fire, stir it all up. Now the sugar will start to melt, the butter too, and we'll have a nice, beautiful, tasty fudge ready. Look, the fudge is already uniform. I still have a little bit of butter here. I put a little bit more temperature now and I'm waiting for a little bit of bubbling underneath. It shouldn't boil too much, but I'm getting so, it's starting to heat up. So I'll see the first couple of bubbles and I'll set it aside. Now the fudge needs to cool. Either fill a sink with water, put a saucepan in it and stir quickly. Or pour it into some other container, put it on the windowsill to cool down quickly. It should be warm. Apply the cooled glaze on the cake. Okay, look, it's all covered in frosting. Now I'm going to wait at least 5 minutes. It's going to set a little bit on the cake and then I'll move the cake to the stand on which I'll serve it. All right, let's cut. We've got a cake waiting for everyone. Here we go. It's so beautiful. Look at that. I can't wait. Look how soft the cake is. Look how it breaks. Well, what? The cream is unbelievable. The chocolate crusts are so moist. It's like there's a lot of chocolate in the cakes themselves. And then there's this fondant on top that's not set yet. That makes this cake so divine. It's delicious. I can't wait to get my hands on it. So you don't look at the fact that it's kind of tall. This cake will be eaten very quickly. Be sure to make it. I look forward to your comments and feedback. And make sure someone makes it with bananas at the bottom of the cream. I think it's delicious too because I once made my bird's milk with bananas inside and they didn't darken. I think you could try that here too. And I also want to say you can try that you can boil 1.5 norms of such fudge and then it will be layered more. Here already who likes the ratio of cakes and cream. As for me, everything is good. Nastya, do you want a cake? Mom will give her a layer. Run, of course, run. Can I have cake? Mom, cake. Wait, not with your finger. You can have the middle. Is it good? It's good. Let's have some more. We're going to have cake. Say goodbye to everyone. Tea and cake. Say bye. Bye. We just woke up. Bye. I want cake. I want cake.